Good morning and welcome to your Partner in Success Radio. I am your host, Denise Griffitts, and this podcast has been bringing you conversations with authors, entrepreneurs, mentors, and business leaders for 18 years. We're turning 18 years old next week. And honestly, it's all because of my guests. My guests are phenomenal. I read their books. They become my mentors in so many ways. And I think you'll love the conversation that I'm about to have with Carol Look. She is the creator of the Yes Code, author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, The Yes Code, and her newest book, Yes, Thank You, Tapping into the Superpower of Gratitude, is on my desk as we speak. She's joining us today to share how gratitude can be your superpower. And she means it. It's a superpower, and I believe her. And why self-sabotage is really just your mind keeping you safe. And how simple tapping EFT techniques can transform your mindset and your life. So today we are sponsored by me, your partner in Success Radio. If you have been struggling to get your message out in front of a large, very engaged, and very hungry audience, our preferred partner program can help. We feature our partners not only on the podcast and the website, but also in the newsletter and with frequent mentions across our social media channels, giving you consistent, high visibility exposure to the audience. And that's the audience that you want to reach. To learn more, call me, Denise Griffitts, toll free 888-719-6711. I'd love to tell you how it can work for you. Now back to my guest. Carol has over 25 years of experience using EFT tapping. I've tried it, and I was sharing with her in the green room, I've never been able to master it. So I'm hoping she'll be able to give me a few pointers. She is a world-renowned workshop presenter, having taught at the Omega Institute, Kripalu, I think that's how it's pronounced, Eden Energy Fest, and ACEP. She has led workshops across the United States, England, the Netherlands, Belgium, France, Ireland, Canada, and Australia. And she is regularly featured in leading global telesummits and documentaries on energy medicine. And I have her book, Yes, Thank You, in front of me as we speak. Carol, good morning. Welcome to your Partner in Success Radio.
Good morning, Denise. What a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. I love your book. And as I mentioned, I have tried tapping before, and I really think I'm the problem because I'm one of those people, I don't want to be told what to do. I fight with my nerve systems. And when I'm trying, it's like, you're not the boss of me. And when I try tapping, for some reason, my brain just says, nah. So I'm going to listen very carefully. I've read the book 2.5 times, and I've learned some things that I just did not know before. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you. I am too.
Okay, so let's talk about you. Tell people who you are, why you do what you do, and what caused you to write this book. It's a fascinating book. I mean, I have read it 2.5, almost 3 times. That's just how I do. But I'm finding I'm kind of scrolling through it right now. I've got sticky notes all over it. Part to the problem. That's where I kind of stop, say, "Ooh," and I could almost see my face. The problem. It's me. I'm the problem. So, anyway, tell us about you.
Okay. Well, I started as a traditional psychotherapist, and then I became a clinical hypnotist. And I loved how the brain worked and all that studying and working with clients. And then someone said, "You think that's fun? You need to try this new strange EFT tapping technique." And I'm a total skeptic, Denise. I am totally skeptical. I went into the training, and what I did is I started working on my clients with it. I would say to them, "You may not like this new technique that I've learned, but I'll do it for 5 minutes on you. And if you don't like it, you know what? I'll give you the 5 minutes at the end of your session." So they didn't feel like they were losing anything by my enthusiasm or even my skepticism about this new technique. And one after the other said, "Oh, what are you doing? What is this and what's going on?" And the research has finally come out, which is exciting for all of us. But what we're doing is we're calming down the fight or flight response in the brain. The tapping, which we do with our fingertips on acupuncture points, goes into the brain and calms down that part of us that gets all hyperactive and upset and stressed out. So what we do is we combine focusing on a challenge. That may be part of what's going on for you, is not being specific enough. We have to be very specific. What are we worried about? Is it about the boss next week? Is it about the kids? Is it about our work, our money? What's going on? And while we've opened that file, like we're opening a computer file in our brain, which is distressing, right? We're not very comfortable with it. We're upset. Somebody's irritated us. At the same time, we're tapping on these acupuncture points. And that's what has the effect of calming down your brain, which then is, of course, we're calming down the nervous system. And everything's about the nervous system these days. Everybody's caught on to that. So the first thing that I cleared, Denise and myself, was chronic insomnia. I thought, what is going on here? Like, I just couldn't believe it. But my insomnia was so bad, I wasn't looking for help, if you know what I mean. It's just, I just have trouble sleeping. I just thought that was me. And that was the first thing that I changed. And then all these clients, one after the other, would say, I'm not having cravings anymore. What did you do last week? They would come in and
Right.
say, this is different. This feels different. So it felt different to me, felt different to them. And when you said, why do you do what you do? Because I love results.
Now that makes sense. I wrote
Right?
that down. Love results. Okay, keep going.
So I love results. So I just kept working. And I came from the addictions field when I was a traditional psychotherapist. So people come to me for weight loss and quit smoking and quit drinking, and they can't stop doing a behavior that feels addictive to them. And it was so powerful that I just couldn't deny it anymore. I couldn't be a skeptic anymore. Now, back then, the research hadn't come out. People were going to their doctors and their psychiatrists and their dentists and their friends and saying, this is really weird, but it's working. I'm no longer upset. I'm no longer overreactive. I'm losing weight. I'm changing my money habits and my beliefs. And people were listening, but the research wasn't there. Now the research is there. What happens? And that's actually what happened when you asked me, why did I write this book? I had always combined gratitude with the tapping. And I started doing research. I started saying, well, if I'm going to write this book, I have to really research, what does gratitude really do for you? Denise, everybody says, oh, it's good for you and you should write a list and you should do this. Well, that's not enough. That's not
No,
enough.
it's not. It's not I'm going to do this before I go to bed. To
Right.
me, gratitude needs to be moment by moment by moment.
Moment by moment, and it needs to be felt,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
just spoken. And I think in the casual self-help field that we're all in, it got, people were saying, oh, sure, I did my gratitudes last night. I listed 3 things I'm grateful for. And nobody's feeling it. Not nobody, but people were not feeling it. So I started doing the research on what gratitude does for you. And my jaw fell. I was like, oh my gosh, this is serious science. We're not just doing a self-help, nice technique to make you feel better. This is science. So the science of that has been there for years. I just wasn't looking at it. And the science of the tapping had been coming out in the last, let's say, 10 or 12 years, 10, 15 years. And so I combined the two. I thought, superpower. EFT tapping has been a superpower both in my personal life as well as with my practice, my clients. As you read in my bio, I teach it all over the world, and so do many other people. This isn't just mine. And the superpower of that combined with gratitude was, how could we not use these 2 tools together? And that's, my bias, my preference. And so sort of the rest is history. I just kept working at it and kept teaching people and talking to doctors and nurses and lay people and people in business and helping them wherever I could, and then keep continuing to help myself. And the changes.
That does. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to
I'm
say the
getting all
change.
excited. I don't want to interrupt you.
The changes have been so dramatic that, again, I could not deny it. I couldn't stay skeptical.
And I understand where you're going with this. And about 10 years ago is when I started paying attention or coming across information about EFT because I had never heard of it. But and I wrote this down when you said this a few minutes ago, that the science is there, and it has been for a while. Look, I love water. Go figure. If I'm in a restaurant or I'm home, I'm drinking water straight out of the tap. I may drink it out of the hose. I'm going to drink water. I love the way it tastes. I love the way it makes me feel. But I don't know, and I can't remember who this was, but there's some YouTube videos that prove that when you express gratitude to your water, it changed the water. And I went,
Yes.
"Okay." So
Change
I
the
think
molecule.
and that's exactly right. And I do that all the time, and when I'm drinking water, which may be at, in 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe out of the tap in the bathroom, I always say, "Thank you," because I mean it. And I don't understand how a world or a globe as wealthy as we are can't find water all over the world and make sure people have that just bugs me. That's a whole different topic. But and I will literally say out loud, "Thank you." And I mean it.
Wonderful. It changes the molecules. So that was
Yeah.
originally Dr. Emoto, who would put
Oh.
around water, and he has a whole book with pictures. It's beautiful, and write statements around your water, because the energy of feeling gratitude, we're all energy, right? The energy of
Mhm.
feeling gratitude goes into the molecules of water. So
But
the
when
same.
when I'm out there in the backyard watering something, I live in the deep South, we don't need to water much, but every once in a while, I just wanna go take a hose out and squirt something, and I'm talking to my pecan trees, I'm talking to my azaleas and giving them water. And thinking, "I'm glad my neighbors know I'm nuts so they don't look at me funny."
I
But it
don't think
works
it's
for
something
me.
new. I don't think it's something new.
No, I don't think it is either. So your book, and let's go back to framing the gratitude. How long have you been doing this?
So with EFT, I have to start with the EFT story a little bit. With EFT, you focus on a target, your anxiety, your fear, your concerns, your pain, and tap, tap, tap on all the points, right? And then you measure, did it work? Is it going anywhere? Is something changing? Then you do it again. So you focus on the challenge or the problem. With gratitude, you're focusing on what's good, what's going well. And what I did is I combined using gratitude while you were tapping. It's not part of the original way the original creator and founder uses tapping. So I started making sure I could get someone's anxiety or my anxiety or concern down, more neutralized. Then I would add tapping on your acupuncture points while you repeat and talk about gratitude, or thank you, universe, for bringing me a solution, or, and all of this is in the book. So what is so cool about that, the research, is that the first statistic, Denise, that I read was that practicing gratitude regularly can reduce your stress levels by 28%. This is free. You do not have to go to a doctor for this. You do not have to sign up for a program. You do not have to do marketing. All you have to do is be in it, like emotionally involved in your gratitude. Well, the statistics about EFT are similar, reducing cortisol levels, reducing your stress levels. So as I was researching, thinking, of course, I'm going to use gratitude in my book. That's the whole point of the book, and using EFT to release our blocks of why we wouldn't do something that is simple, free, and life changing. So I combined those two. I started finding these statistics that were really standing out. This is not maybe 8%, maybe 9%. We're talking in the 20s. There's a statistic about how it reduces uh, cardiovascular disease by 15%. That's like one of the biggest diseases in our world. Cardiovascular problems are huge. So as I was researching, I was revealing, oh, this is not just some cute self-help technique that people talk about. This is serious medicine. And then the EFT research had come out, and that's serious medicine because it can reduce symptoms of post-traumatic stress. It can increase your duration and longevity of sleep. It can improve your memory. It can change your cortisol levels. Again, anytime we're changing our cortisol levels and lowering our stress, we're in a good place. So that's how I just started combining them. And it was just, but the statistics again were too impressive not to talk about.
And I understand, and let's go back to sleep because you had insomnia. I do not sleep, I never have. It's never been a real problem for me. I'm not an insomniac, I just don't like to sleep. Apparently, I didn't like it as a child, and I don't much care for it as an adult because as far as I'm concerned, it cuts into my reading time, so I don't wanna sleep. But I have to if I can get 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours and never in a row, I sleep in fits and starts. And I'm fine with that, but I am worried that as I get older, that's going to cause problems.
That's actually the key. Does it cause problems or not? Because everybody's on
Not
a
yet.
continuum. And
Yeah, not yet, but
we've,
maybe.
well, we've all bought into this. Everybody has to have this many glasses of water. Everybody has to have this many hours of sleep. Everybody needs this. We're not all the same. There are people who live on 4 hours of sleep. I can't, but there are people who live on it. It's possible.
Yeah,
So
I'm one of them. I'm one of
and
those people.
you would need to look into, is there a reason? Is that a sabotage behavior? Is that an anxiety problem? Is that look into the specifics and see, well, do you want to sleep more? Do you
No,
want to sleep
I
more?
really don't. I'd rather read than sleep, and I may sleep an hour, I may sleep 2 hours. I have to tell you, Carol, if I sleep for 6 to 8 hours in a row, I'm sick. I know there's something my body is saying, "You're sick, take it easy," because
Mhm.
I'm groggy for the next 2 or 3 days after that.
Interesting. It's like it doesn't suit your body to have a
Mm-mm.
time like that. Well, one of the statistics was there were 30 sleep studies, and 60% of these studies, they did an analysis, determined that the gratitude practices increase the quality and duration of your sleep. And what I was just doing tapping on other people, I didn't even target my anxiety. Mine was stress induced sleep problems just for years. Worry, worry, worry. I didn't even target it. I was tapping on with other people. Do this, say this, tap here. What about this? How's your anxiety? I wasn't even targeting my own problem. And I woke up one day and said, that's interesting. I think I slept. I think I went to bed and slept last night. So you are supposed to target your anxiety, your worry, your concern, whatever's going on that's your mind going, right? And neutralize it and feel better. But I didn't even do that in the beginning. Now, I did have to, when I lost 25 pounds, I did have to target specifically. Why would I hold on to the extra weight? What's going on for me? Is it safety protection? What is it about for me? And it turned out to be grief, which I didn't even know. So all those silly diets and all that exercise and all that, and then I would just gain it back again because I hadn't dealt with an underlying grief problem that I didn't know was the problem.
Well, let's dig into that because m my big worry is always focus. I do have a squirrel brain. Her name is Ginger. We talk, and sometimes she brings a friend, it's just crazy, but I catch myself realizing that focus is a problem for me, and that it's a big problem because I'm a web developer. I'll catch myself looking at lines of code and going, "Why am I even here? How long have I been looking at this same code?" And then I'm annoyed. So it's like this round robin thing that goes on, but when you say you had to dig into your grief, how do you even know what you're looking for?
It's so interesting. It's such a good question. We're looking for the source of the problem. So I
Right.
like to ask questions. Is there any upside to the problem? Is there any upside to keeping the weight on? What would be the downside of letting it go? And what weight loss people and cigarettes and drugs and alcohol, what people, when they ask the questions accurately, they understand that if they didn't have their substance or their extra weight, feelings come up, emotions surface. End of story. And
Oh,
if you keep following that thread, you're going to find out which emotion is it. Are you worried about abandonment from childhood? Is it a childhood trauma? Is it grief? Is it hurt? Is it betrayal? Is it the first husband? Whatever it is, right? So we have to ask some questions and find out what's going on. So you can do tapping on symptoms such as cravings for sugar or craving for a cigarette or cravings to call the ex who's a jerk, any of those cravings that we get involved, right? You can do
right.
that. Likely that's not going to last as it is likely deeper. So
So
we often
you
need to ask more
really
questions.
right. So basically what I'm hearing you say is we have to ask ourselves what we're tolerating.
Yes. And what's there's always a cost of our behavior. So people say, "Oh, I'm not sleeping, or I'm going to work and fighting with my colleagues, or I'm snapping at the kids," or whatever the issue is. There's a cost to that behavior, but there's also a cost to getting well. And that's what I didn't realize, and that's when I started asking clients questions. What happened is I had, added up my income 2 years in a row, to give to my accountant, and I was in full-time private practice, and I made the exact same amount 2 years in a row, which is impossible, Denise, because holidays fall on different days. New clients come in, old clients leave, you get, a cold, the client gets a cold, all sorts of your prices go up, all sorts of things happen. You cannot do that unless you have a comfort zone. And that's how I discovered clearly I had a comfort zone about my income. And I had to ask questions. What's going on? Am I afraid to shine? Am I afraid to succeed? Why would I have a block or a ceiling on top of me that would limit my personal income? Anyway, so that was one of the first times I really had to look at those questions and say, something's going on because it's costly to have a comfort zone here. It's getting in my way, but there must be a benefit to it. It must feel safer. It's all about safety. And what's really interesting, Denise, is we are wired for safety. Human beings are wired for safety. They are not wired for success. So people are chasing success, unaware that success itself is a trigger for them. Success scares them. They feel exposed. They feel like they're shining. They feel like someone's going to hurt them. So that was part of my work too in the beginning, turning that around and saying, oh, okay, no problem. We're getting in our own way. We're sabotaging ourselves. Let's take a look at the why. Why would we get in our own way? Oh, because everybody says they want more success. They all do. In my workshops, in my private practice, all say here for more success. Well, you have to look at why you don't want it. And people say, oh, don't be silly. Of course I want it. Well, you're going about it in this funny way because you're getting in your way and you're sabotaging. You didn't show up for the meeting. And, so if you want success, you wouldn't behave the way you're doing. Because people will say, how do I know if I have a block to success? Well, you could look at your bank account. You could look at your behavior. Look at any procrastination behavior
Oh,
and
I've got
find
that.
out.
Procrastination. That's
What
a bad one for me.
What's funny about you, Denise, though, is for someone who's got a problem with focus, oh my gosh, you what you accomplish in your partner in success, what you get accomplished is hilarious, given that you have a focus issue. Do you know what I mean?
And yeah, and just think what I could do if I didn't have a focus issue. I would be scary. I really would. But and I catch myself doing it all the time. And I'll sit myself down and say, well, Denise, what's going on? I don't do it with tapping. I am going to try that again. But I'm at least aware enough to know that my focus is shot. I need to go stick my head in the refrigerator, which is a trick I have. I go in there because, we wind up in the refrigerator, have no idea how we got there, why we're there. We're just standing there looking with this blank look on our face, like, what happened? I mean, and I don't have a huge route to my refrigerator. I can get there and nothing flat. It's just in another room. And I don't remember going there. I don't remember leaving my command center. And so I will deliberately go open it's a double door, and I'll stick as much of my body and my face in there as I can. And I deliberately let myself just go blank. And then the door starts stinging. It's like, Denise, close the door, close the door. Okay. And I'm back, all of a sudden I'm back, but it's a focus thing. And I know it's a focus thing.
Yes. And you have to find out, is not being focused, is that helpful? Does it, something's going on with my computer. Is it helpful? Is it good for you? Do you appreciate that? What's going on that would make focus a challenge? I have clearly undiagnosed, but clearly ADHD, and someone said, you can't have it. You get too much accomplished. Well, you know what? You can do both. You can have a version of ADHD and squirrel brain and still get a lot accomplished.
I do, but then I beat myself up because I didn't get it all accomplished that day. I'm really mean to myself.
Yes.
And that's a problem for all of us, isn't it?
Well, yes, and we could put it into the gratitude tapping or the gratitude work. We could just say, thank you, universe, or thank yourself for all that you got accomplished today. It was a big deal. Celebrate the wins, as all the big coaches say. Celebrate the wins, because there are a lot of wins in your day. There are a lot. And what do we see? We see what we haven't gotten done. We see the pile of papers we didn't file. We see the emails we didn't get back to, right? But there's a lot going on that's really powerful in your day and in my day, and we need to acknowledge that.
And I finally learned that because, you can sit there, like you say, I've got a pile of index cards. I love index cards. And I've had to train myself to only have 3 on my desk at any given moment. Number 1, finish this. Number 2, do this and finish it. Number 3, do this. If the third one doesn't get done, it moves to the next day's index cards. I'm really deliberately not burying myself in stuff. It's helpful. It works.
Yeah. I didn't know somebody else loved index cards. I don't
I
use them
do.
as you do, but I love them, especially if they're blue or pink or yellow.
I use blue, pink, and I've got a green one too. I don't even know where that one came from. I've got blue, yellow, and pink, and I use them for different things. If I'm picking up a blue card, I know exactly what that's about. It's about my website build. The other one, the yellow, is going to be about the podcast or whatever's happening. So I'm training myself to look at colors as well as this is what you're going to do today.
Mm. Mm. So interesting. You provide so much for people. I mean, that's what, at the end of the day, you're in service. I'm in service. That's
Hmm.
what we care about. And I often, in my gratitude tapping or my gratitude list, thank you for allowing me to provide service for people. I really love the work I do. I really enjoy getting to help people with the aha moments and lowering their stress levels and feeling better about their job or their family or their body or whatever it is. It's really, really an honor to get to help people. So that goes on my gratitude list regularly.
And you just, I'm stuttering. You just, because I'm cold, my feet are cold. So I've got the windows open. I'm in the South. I mean, that doesn't mean much, but when it gets cold in the deep South, it goes to the bone. It really does. And it's, kind of chilly out there, which I like, but my feet aren't loving it right now. You just said something that had me writing identifying patterns and identifying gaps. I'm not sure where it came from, but I think that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we need to look at the patterns because human beings are repetitive creatures. So whether it's around food or whether it's around barking at our, family members or whether it's around being reactive and kind of going into that mode of, oh, this is a crisis. It's not a crisis. But you can watch yourself or people or other people are the ones saying to you, I think this is a pattern. And I do that as a psychotherapist because people come to me and basically reveal their patterns. And then once you get a pattern uncovered, then you get to say, what would be the downside of letting go of this pattern? Procrastination, getting in your own way, getting too stressed out and then getting sick. What would be a downside of releasing that? I had a client who could not get her website published. Could not. And every week it was like, what's going on? What's going on? And I said, well, what's the downside of not publishing and launching your website? Because everything's there. And people don't come, that means they're rejecting me. Now,
No, 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 no. They don't know you.
but she didn't know that. That was the
Oh,
running in her nervous system. We come up with very strange beliefs, Denise. They sound rather childish, all of our beliefs, and we come up with them. And if you have not uncovered them, then they're operating in the background like a computer program that is spinning in the background, taking up energy. So they don't get revealed unless you ask the right questions or the patterns are so obvious. Someone says, I can't believe I did it again. This is the third job in a row that I've sabotaged my coworkers, or I've sabotaged a relationship with my boss, or I'm procrastinating so much. Of course they would put me, on probation. So either the person identifies their pattern or somebody else outside of them says, hey, you only stay in a relationship for 3 months, then you move on. What's going on there? You find out by asking questions and observing and being kind to yourself, others, and just saying, this must be a pattern. This is clearly something going on. Then you have to find out why. That's the important piece that a lot of people, Denise, miss that I realized I was missing when I did that income test for myself. What's the why? The famous Bob Proctor, who died a few years ago, he would say, your why has to be bigger than your why not. And
right.
if
I've read most of his stuff.
and if your why not, let's say someone comes to me and they're afraid to shine. They're afraid to be successful, but they have all the programs and they have the smarts to do it and they have the right goods, whatever they have. I have to ask them, what is the downside of being successful? Because you're doing behavior that is blocking your results. Oh, well, life just gets in the way and life's just busy. No, no, it's not about life anymore. We need to find out what's really going on. What's that why not? Why would you prefer to procrastinate or get in your own way than absolutely bloom and shine? And, why didn't you get back to the person who's doing your website? Why didn't you launch the program, the downloadable program you were doing? So it's really important because people use fear of success and fear of shining all the time as issues, but they're not getting to the bottom of it. They're just saying, oh, I just must have a fear of success. Well, we have to go further. Why would you have a fear of success? And then you find out that when they were 10, someone made fun of them for giving a speech in school. And then you find out that they're one of 6 siblings and the older siblings didn't like it when they were successful. Then you find out that a teacher yelled at them when they were successful. There are a million answers to that question, but each one is important for the individual. What is your reason to block your success? What might be your fear of shining and being at your best? Because I work with people who are not just trying to get a little bit better. I work with people who are top in their field who come to me and say, you're not going to believe this, but I'm sabotaging myself. Yeah, it looks like I've got everything under control. I'm in my own way for the next level.
And I say that all the time, especially to myself and about myself. I'm the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
And that leads me down, that goes to imposter syndrome a lot of the times, but it also makes me get very honest with myself or what I think I'm being honest about. But I don't think I'm going deep enough after listening to you.
Mm-hmm. And if you feel safe enough, you can go deep enough. Problem is, first of
Oh,
all,
right.
our culture is all about, the fast food answers, right? Well, when you feel safe enough yourself, your journal, a trusted, practitioner or counselor or therapist or a friend, if you feel safe enough, it'll bubble up to the top. It's when we don't feel safe, we don't reveal anything to ourselves or the people in our life. When we don't feel safe, we're like, oh, no, you don't understand. I'm just procrastinating. Life is just busy. Well, everybody's busy. That's not it. You said your goal of 2025 or 2026 was supposed to be this, and you keep getting in your own way. There has to be a reason. Oh, no. Oh, yes. There's a reason. And I can ask people these questions because I've asked myself a million times whenever I hit a block, and I've had to do the work myself. I've had to expand myself and say, what is going on? That's strange. I told everybody I wanted to complete this task or finish this program or launch launch something, a coaching program. And look what I did. I didn't do it. What's going on?
Yeah, I went and made a gumbo instead. Yeah, and I've been known for that. I love to cook. When I hit something, honestly, I don't want to do it. Procrastination for me is just, I don't want to. Yeah, I really don't want to. And I'll find myself standing over a pot of roux and trying not to burn it. But what I'm finding from listening to you and from kind of doing my own analysis on a regular basis, actually, that if you're going to ask these upside and downside questions, you've got to get honest. And some days it's going to make you go, oh, crud, or something worse, or bite the cat's tail or go outside and kick a tire. I mean, sometimes you just need to, in my world anyway, you have to get mad at yourself and say, why are you doing this, Denise? I ask myself that all the time. And then the answer comes back. I'm like, well, that sucked. So there it is. But then you have to keep going from there, don't you?
You have to keep going because in our culture, and I'm not blaming the culture, but how we're all looking for the quick, easy answer and the quick, easy, question and trying to just get over it. When we try to get over something, we're not dealing with true, real emotional distress that happened to us at some point in our lives that set us up to be afraid of success or afraid of failure. It's not random. Now, there's my issues. I come from my family, so my issues are connected to my family. Your issues come from your family. Clients who come to me, I will ask them, well, what was it like in your family when someone succeeded when you were a kid? What was it like when you were a teenager or in your 20s? What happened? And they'll say, oh, that's so weird. Why did you ask that question? Oh, when I was really successful, and they name an age, somebody took a shot at them. Somebody was not happy. It rocked the boat somewhere. And once you're willing to say, I want to get to the bottom of this, like when I got sick and tired of going up and down the 20, 25 pounds, believe me, how many times can you do that before you get sick and tired of it? I had to go deeper. It's not about anxiety. See, I was born anxious, so I always thought everything was anxiety. There was
Oh,
grief. There was sadness. There was deep loss. There were things that I had not dealt with that if you knew my life and knew who I was, you wouldn't think I was terribly distressed. I was 25 pounds overweight, but you wouldn't think I was terribly upset. I was generally happy. I had great relationships. I had a good business, right? But I was showing myself and the world that I couldn't stop eating. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot to some people who have a real weight problem, but it was a lot on me. It was a lot for me, and I wasn't happy with it. I also
what?
quit smoking, and that was another issue. Quitting
Yeah, but isn't that self-medicating?
absolutely
Drinking, drugs, overeating.
being
Yeah.
on the internet too many hours. Watching
Yeah.
how many YouTube videos can we watch in a day? All of it is self medicating, and when you get that, then you can say, "Hey, what am I medicating? I need different kinds of support. I need more support." Oh, that's all. It's not some scary, horrific trauma. Sometimes it is trauma, but sometimes you just need more support in your life.
And can you give yourself that support?
Yes, with many,
Okay.
many, many, many tools. So I'm a meditator.
Right.
I do my speed walking in the morning. I do my gratitude. I do my tapping. So everybody comes up with a list of tools that are really good for them. And when it's not enough, I seek external counsel. I seek help from other people, and I'm always in help with other people. So that's not a there's never a time in my life when I'm not getting help from someone else. So you can do it for yourself. And when you need more support and an extra set of eyes and an extra set of ears, you need to contact someone. That's just human. We just need support. We all need support. So go ahead, journal, and go ahead and tap, and
Right.
go ahead and meditate. And when you're not shifting enough, you need somebody else.
And you don't know what you don't know about yourself. I mean, you just don't. I remember being in where my best friend and I were taking a drive from here to Atlanta, Georgia, which is 10 hours in a car any way you look at it, especially once you get to Atlanta and you're all over Peachtree. I mean, it's like being in Texas, you're never gonna get out of it. But I remember at one point, and I can't remember what the conversation was about. I know we were listening to Deepak Chopra. We were listening to, a lot of the self-help people, which I really enjoyed. And for some reason, she asked me, she said, Denise, don't you think you're a compassionate person? And I instantly said, no. I thought she was going to park and slug me. I really did. And I said, no, I don't consider myself to be a compassionate person at all. And she went quiet. And she gave me this whole list. I went, oh, I didn't recognize that. I'm an A-type personality. I get things done, I, but I am my own bottleneck. But to me, it's just do what you're told. Nobody gets hurt, or at least that's what I thought I was doing. I was wrong. And she pointed that out to me for about an hour. You know, yeah.
That's
I
a
think,
good
okay,
friend.
stop. Stop. I get it.
That's a good friend. Well, you have empathy, and I know you have empathy. We've never met because of how you help people. You see their challenges, you help them, you call yourself a partner. So you're even in the language of it. So you have empathy, and maybe you don't think you're the most compassionate person compared to someone else, but look what you do for people. Look what you
I
do for
think
people. It's like,
Thank you. I think it's because I'm such a committed introvert that, I've heard all of my, ooh, let's go date. We're going to talk about our childhood. All of my life growing up, I heard that I was selfish, that I was cold, that I was a loner. That's before we knew what introverts were. And I remember being in the corridor of my high school, and this guy, apparently he wanted to date me, and I didn't even know who he was. Turns out I was in 2 classes with him. I didn't know who he was. And I wasn't paying attention. I'm walking around with a book in my face because I will read anything. And all of a sudden he yells, "You're frigid." I did turn around and look at him that time. I said, I don't think you know what that word means. Let's go to the library and talk to the librarian. I hauled his butt in there and had her explain it. But all of my life, I've heard that, you're cold, you're shut off. I'm not. But now I'm going to have to go tap because
Yeah,
I'd forgotten
ex ex
about that.
exactly. So the way we get different results is changing our emotional states, changing our beliefs, and changing our behavior. But we're kind of too obsessed with the behavior, clean up the room, clean up your clutter, call
Right.
and answer the emails. We need to be focused on the beliefs and the feelings. And you got pegged as cold for whatever family reasons they needed to say that about you, right? I got pegged as too sensitive. And don't think I didn't bring that into my adulthood, right? Too
See,
sensitive.
I have not been accused of that.
Well, we have to find out what are our beliefs that are limiting us that make us not be exactly who we really are and really live into our potential. So, someone might have the belief that, well, being successful is unsafe. Being warm is going to get you hurt by somebody. Being vulnerable is foolish. There are lots of beliefs that we hold. And the best two targets for tapping are the emotions: fear, guilt, concern, resentment, stress, and beliefs. Oh, I'm too old to start a new job. Oh, nobody sees who I really am. No one values what I give. Another belief that I work with a lot with people is, oh, it has to be a struggle. I can't make it look easy. Well, where do you think we get those beliefs? I
I
say to
don't
people,
know. And why would somebody even think that's acceptable?
right, because I say to people, if you grow up in France, you're going to speak French. So I got my family's beliefs from my family, and somebody else has a completely different set of beliefs that aren't questioned, that aren't even, nobody even, moves the rock aside and says, what is under this? What's going on? Where did you get this? When did you first hear this? When did you first get accused of being, quote, too sensitive, Carol? Like, I needed to ask those questions. What does that mean? What did you do with your behavior in order not to look sensitive so that you wouldn't be accused of it again, et cetera, et cetera, right? So whichever the beliefs are that we're holding on to, we need to just get to the bottom of it. And then
See,
you've got a
I'm,
tapping
I'm,
target.
yeah, yeah. I'm scribbling notes like crazy. I mean, I knew this was going to be one of those conversations where we went deep because I'm fascinated by, I say I've read the book and have tried it. It didn't work for me then, but that doesn't mean that I can't try it again because I will try it. But you talk about, and thank you for sending me this book. I mean, you ought to see it. It's got sticky notes. It's fat. It's got sticky notes all over. It's put on weight. But you talk about the top 3 blocks to success, what they are, how do they usually show up in the work that the people you work with, and you're talking about the fear of failure and fear of success. And uh, to me, that's kind of the same thing, the fear of failure and the fear of success. But you say that's not correct. How do they differ?
Well, when someone's afraid of failure, that's the most common one. People say, oh, I'm just afraid of failure. They procrastinate. They don't want to do something because they're afraid of judgment on the other side, that someone will say, too bad, Carol. You tried it, but you're a failure. Some echo and voice is there that says it's dangerous to try something new or complete something because you're going to be criticized or judged. So the behaviors can be the same, like then they don't do it, they procrastinate. But the result, what you're worried about is different. When someone's afraid of success, they're afraid that doubling their income, doubling their clients, being more social, being more successful in their profession, that's going to invite a certain kind of envy or jealousy or, just someone being upset with them. It's rocking the boat. So then they start to recede. They start to not shine and get in their own way. So they can do the same behavior. They can actually do a behavior like procrastination in order not to be successful. But they have to have had an example from childhood, adolescent, early 20s, early teen, whenever. They have to have had at least one experience where they were excited about their success. Maybe it was in sports, maybe it was in academia, maybe it was in their profession, their first profession, and had somebody snark at them, smack them, emotionally smack them for it. They have to have had a surprise, uh-oh, because the message is, uh-oh, I didn't know being successful was going to upset people, which is different than if I try this and I don't do well, I'll be shamed or humiliated as a failure. So we want to just look at the differences because they're important. Someone needs to know, are you really afraid that someone's going to judge you and you'll be a quote failure? Or are you worried that your success is really that shininess and your success is going to be somehow triggering to somebody else?
Or attract people that you just don't want in your life.
Right? Exactly.
And that's why you have boundaries. Like, I'm known for boundaries. Our brain's wiring or emotional conditioning get in the way of staying grateful. And for the longest kind of time, especially when I was younger and a lot more arrogant than I am now, gratitude just wasn't something that I even considered. I just thought the world owed me something, whatever it was out there, and I was going to go get it. But I'll tell you how I discovered gratitude years ago on this podcast. A gentleman came on. It was a long time ago. This is 18 years old, so it was probably in the first 2 or 3 years of the show. And he wanted to talk about gratitude, what he called massive gratitude. Hang on a second. I didn't want to cough on you. Sorry. I hope I didn't. But he was recovering or had recovered from cancer, a very bad cancer, one that he was told, go home and get your affairs in order. You're not going to be around long. And this was about 5 years down the road when he was talking with me. And I said, how did you do it? He said, well, I did some of what the doctors wanted me to do. He didn't do radiation because he figured that would just fry him. But he did, some of what he thought was reasonable and rational. And he embarked on massive, and he kept saying this massive gratitude. It was almost with every breath he took. And I went, huh. And that had me thinking.
Yeah. Well, now that we know that gratitude changes the cells in your body.
Right. And water,
Right.
same thing. Exactly. So now it's easy for me, but I had never practiced it. I'm one of those people for the longest kind of time. I would jump out of bed, hit the floor, and then the devil would say, crap, she's awake. My mom gave me a birthday card that said that. Then, after I heard from this man, I had to train myself because, I don't sleep well. When I wake up, I'm awake. I'm ready to go. And I've had to train myself to stay in bed, keep my eyes closed, do not run for the bathroom, even though there's a cat on my bladder all the time, and say, thank you, good morning, thank you. And the more I do that, the better I feel.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I didn't do it in the beginning because I was so preoccupied. I talk about this in the book. With my family, I was raised by alcoholics. And I was so preoccupied with who's drinking, who's in trouble, who's having a car accident, what's going on, can I get out of the way, can I get in the way, can I help them, that I wasn't focused there. I just didn't, I'd heard about it. And there were even things I was very grateful for, but I didn't know about it as a quote practice.
Practice, right, right.
As a self-help tool that is not just cutesy from the books from the, whatever, but it's really something worthwhile for your cellular improvement, your mental improvement, your emotional stability. I didn't know that. I just thought, oh yeah, everybody has a gratitude list. It's become popular. So I had to
Yeah,
really
yeah.
dig in back then too, right? So
Those and affirmations. I don't like affirmations. They don't work for me. They don't mean anything to me, but gut gratitude, it comes from the heart. It comes from the gut. That makes sense to me. Reading something on a sticky note or something. And look, I've been known to scrawl all over my shower walls because that's where I call them God winks. I get in there, I turn the water up hot enough to literally, steam broccoli. I mean, it's a hot, hot, hot shower. But that's where I get all these downloads, gratitude. I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to God. I'm talking out loud. I'm telling the cat to quit scratching the door. I'll be out soon. But that's when I calm down and I can breathe again, all these wonderful ideas come to me and I have to write them down. So I take bathtub crayons in there.
yes,
It
perfect.
works. It works. And yet, once the steam dissipates, takes a while. And I go in there, I take a shot, I take a snapshot of, whatever I wrote down, and then I come back in here and I write it all down. But it's not lost. But if I
So,
don't do that, it's lost.
well, an anxious brain isn't very smart, which is why they need to do a lot more work in schools when the kids are anxious because something's going on at home or in the classroom. They
Right.
need to identify that because your brain goes offline, which is why one of the reasons tapping is so fabulous for everybody of any age, but you calm yourself down and suddenly the good idea pops in. Suddenly your intuition is right in front of you and you can't deny it. One of the that's another thing that I helped myself with accidentally with doing tapping so much with other people and with myself is that my, ESP, my intuition, my getting downloads came back online. And it was like, well, this is strange. I'm getting information. Well, when you're not in squirrel or monkey brain, whatever you want to call it, you're smart. Information comes to you. You get
Because you're
great.
relaxed. You can relax and, your creativity just goes, "Hey, hi, I'm back."
Yes. Absolutely. So even if someone doesn't wanna do gratitude for any of the other health reasons, which I can't imagine why, do it for your creativity. Do it for your brilliance in your business, whatever business you're in. It will help you with ideas, connections, really coming up with ideas that are new and just have that vibrancy, right? Have that vibration of joy and real genius. Genius happens when you're relaxed. It does not happen when you're anxious.
No, when you're in a panic mode, you're just going forward, you're gonna hit a wall. I wanted to ask you because we are gonna run out of time. You need to come back in the new year.
Thank you.
I knew this hour wasn't gonna be enough, but I'm on page 77, and the topic is how to use tapping effectively, which we've talked a lot about why we should do it, but not really how to do it. So it starts with number 1, choose your target. Can you take it from there?
Yeah, so that's an important first step nobody should skip, which is the target can either be an emotion, fear, guilt, worry, stress, a belief, I'm too old to start this, success is dangerous, the memory of an event, the time my teacher yelled at me, the time my boss was frustrated and threatened to fire me, the time fill in the blank, or a physical symptom. So that's what you wanna do is be clear, because part of the problem when people say, "Oh, I tried tapping and it didn't work," you weren't clearly enough focused on something that gets your brain engaged, and then you apply the tapping and it calms you down. So you need to be in it. You actually need to be in something. Step 2 is we measure the fear or the distress. So we say, "Okay, you're afraid of that meeting with your boss next week or your colleague next week. When you think of it now, 0 to 10, how high is your fear?" People say, "I know it's next week, but I'm already agitated. I'm already upset. Maybe I'm a 6 or a 7." Then we go tap, tap. Then we create the setup statement for tapping, which is an affirmative affirmation kind of statement, which is, even though I have this anxiety about my boss next week, or even though I feel stressed out about the holidays and I'm not focused, comma, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And people say, "Oh, I don't want to say that." You know what? It works. It's worked for decades before I even started tapping. When I work with Wall Streeters, Denise, they don't want to say it. So I say, come up with another statement. I respect that I'm doing the best that I can, because they don't want to say I love myself or I accept myself. But the point is, you're naming the problem. I have this anxiety. I have this stress. I feel worried. I feel resentful. And then you combine it with this. And you know what? I'm okay. I'm doing the best that I can. So those are the really important first steps of it. Then you tap on the acupuncture points while you're tuned into the target. So I say to people, don't switch on me. Don't be upset with your sister when we first start and then move to your colleague. Stay in the same lane so we can measure it. We can see what comes up. Why does your sister remind you of someone else? Why do you feel resentful? What's going on? So we try to stay on the same topic. We do a round of tapping and then we say, so measure it again. And they'll say, it's not bothering me as much right now. Can you give it a number on that same scale, 0 to 10? Hmm, it's probably maybe a 4. It's down. Yeah, it just doesn't bother me as much. And then you tap again. You go around on the acupuncture points. You can tweak the language, change it to really fit the situation. The person might say, yeah, it's not really that I'm worried about the boss. I don't think I'm prepared. I don't think I've done my homework. Then you have a new target. Even though I'm afraid someone will find out that I'm not prepared, comma, I accept who I am and how I feel. So there are lots of variations of that sentence that I have in the book, and you can change, everybody can change them. The point is you got to be in it and focused to have the tapping take effect, because what you want to do is open up that file in your brain that's distressed or upset. Once it's open, it's available to be edited. It's like if I sent you a story, Denise, I'd have to open up the Word document in order to edit it. Find the misspellings, change a paragraph, change a sentence. So we have to open it up before we do the tapping. And that's where some people are like, oh, yeah, I tried that thing and I don't think it worked. Well, where were you when you tried it? I don't remember. What were you focused on? I'm not sure. Well, then they're not in distress in order to have it work, in order to apply the treatment of the tapping. So you need to be in it. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And what came to my mind was I wasn't being honest about anything when I tried it. I was kind of fitting it in to, okay, I've got 10 minutes. I'm going to go try this thing. Oh, gotta go. And I wasn't serious about it. And I knew I wasn't serious about it, but I also knew that until I decided to get serious and honest with myself, I wasn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it got shelved until here you are. So now I'm good. And, next week I've got some downtime because of the holidays. When I say some downtime, it's not a whole lot, but I will have this book in front of me. And I have to tell the audience, because we've started over here on page 77, but if you open to 78, there's 2 lists there: emotions, beliefs, symptoms, memory of a past event. It gives you all kinds of options. Get this book. Everybody get this book. I mean, it's really made me stop and think, okay, I tried this. It didn't really work for me, but I didn't give it a shot. I did not give it a fair chance.
And I have free videos for people if they want to go and they don't want to buy the book. It's okay. You can go to a site and get the free videos that I have that are companions. It's a portal that are companions to the book. So if that's useful, you let me know and I'll give you the link later.
Oh, give us, yeah. At the end of it, I'll ask where, people can find you, and remind me to ask you that, about that link. We are going to run out of time. Before I let you go, what else do you want our audience to know?
I think the most important thing is don't give up. People are in real trouble these days, and mental health issues and concerns and juggling too much and trying to make money and get the kids to school and feed the dog and, all sorts of things. Don't give up. There are tools, really simple tools that you can use to help yourself, help your nervous system, and turn your results around. If you want financial results, if you want bodily health results, if you want results in your relationships, these tools really work. I would not be still in the business, Denise, if I was not 100% behind these tools. I say to my audiences, I was in Australia last year, and I said to them, if I find another tool, I'll let you know. I will be the first one to tell you, let's skip tapping and go to something else. I haven't found something in 30 years as a psychotherapist. I have not found a replacement tool that is faster, more efficient, more comforting, and more results oriented. As I said earlier, me, I need results. I do not have a lot of time and patience for something that doesn't work. So, if I'm following this and still doing it, it's still working. So don't give up. The short answer is please don't give up.
And you mentioned something just now, but I wrote down, I think what the entire world right now, the entire globe seems to be experiencing this, and I noticed it around COVID, is what I call a low-level sense of dread. Politics are god-awful. Yeah, I don't watch the news. I gave up on that many, many years ago because as far as I'm concerned, it's propaganda, but it still leaks through. And, I think we're all collectively wandering around going, what's the next blow? What's going to happen? What's awful? What's good? Instead of just saying, you know what? Life's not that bad. I'm good.
Dread is a fantastic target for tapping.
Yeah,
I worked with someone
that's what I
last week.
thought.
He said, I've had dread my whole life. I didn't even know it. Like, well, here we go. That feeling in your chest, that feeling in your stomach, target it. I feel dread about the next phone call with a business associate, whatever it is. That's a great target for tapping.
I actually have a phone call later today that very nice gentleman popped back up. I worked with him in 2021. Lovely guy. But he had a team member that I seriously cannot tolerate, won't tolerate it. He's not allowed to speak with me. And I have to tell him, look, I'll work with you, but I won't work with that guy. So if he comes with part of the team, I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're allowed to.
Oh, yeah.
With all that you give to people, you're allowed to, right?
I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm not going to be bulldozed over either.
Wow. Wow.
Carol, this has been such an energizing and really insightful conversation, and definitely you need to come back. We're booking now, I think, for May of next year. So I'll call you and get you that link. So if you'll come back, right? You said yes.
Love to. Are you
I lost you.
That's an
Say it
immediate
again.
yes.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you. I'm honored.
Oh, I would love to have you come back.
Mm.
You have really helped us see that gratitude, big word, gratitude isn't just a polite thank you. It's a powerful, energetic shift that can unlock abundance, heal emotional blocks, and reconnect us to what's truly possible, especially with our own self. I've honestly had to have conversations with myself where I felt like I was in a, black and white noir movie where somebody just took that light and shone it in my face and said, tell us the truth. No, I don't want to. But you have to, don't you? You have to be truthful to yourself.
You really do. That's where the healing is. That's where the healing and the comfort and the
Yeah.
relaxation. Yeah.
And it can be uncomfortable, but you have to do the work. Well, listen, everybody, to our listeners, I hope today's episode encourages you to try a simple gratitude practice or even explore tapping and notice how differently you feel when you focus on what's working rather than what's missing. Carol, where can people find you? Where can they connect? Where can they get the book?
I'd love for them to go to the free portal. So the book is at Amazon and any store you want to buy it. Yes, thank you. But go to the portal and see the videos that go with the book. And there's a gratitude challenge there. So it's www.theyescode.com/thank you. That's this book. That's the portal. You put your name and address in there and you get taken to 7 free videos and the gratitude challenge and all sorts of resources there that are free.
Excellent. Well, listen, everybody, as Carol reminds us, she's reminding us that gratitude and self-awareness can turn self-sabotage into self-support. We all need support, mostly from ourselves, because only when we are comfortable with ourselves, I think, can we really accept support from other people. At least that's been my, experience, if you will. But be sure to check out our new book. Yes, thank you, Tapping into the Superpower of Gratitude. And Carol, thank you for joining us and sharing your wisdom, your warmth, your terrific stories, and this beautiful reminder that gratitude really is a superpower. So thank you for joining us. I am Denise Griffitts, and I will see you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Carol, I'll call you in just a bit.
Excellent. Thank you, Denise. It's an honor.
Thank you.
Get your voice heard. If you would like to launch your own far-reaching podcast, contact Denise Griffitts at yourofficeontheweb.com and go to the podcast tab.